Wholesale Hotline, where we cover everything to do with wholesale real estate. I'm Jamil Damji.
I'm Brent Daniels.
And I am Pace Morby.
And together we cover the most important parts of wholesale real estate.
Lead generation.
Conversion of sellers into contracts.
And dispositions. Guys, remember when you're watching this show, do us a favor and squad up in the comments.
Make sure that you are liking and subscribing to the YouTube channels and in the Facebook group Wholesale Hotline.
Most important, we want to know we're doing a great job for you and helping you build your business. So go give us a review on iTunes and or Spotify.
So squad up and enjoy the show.
Welcome to Wholesale Hotline number 174. Let me get let's get Jamil on here. Here we go. How are you doing, brother?
Awesome, bro. How are you?
Where are you located?
I'm in Idaho.
Awesome. How is Idaho?
Boise, Idaho. It's great. I'm at the Circle Real Estate event put on by Brittany Arneson and AJ Osborne. Phenomenal lineup over here of people. Spoke today. Pace spoke yesterday. I think he's already on a flight home to Phoenix right now. So unfortunately, we won't have him here with us today, but happy to be here. I got to see Carly, our wonderful Carly, who helps us so much with Wholesale Hotline. I met her here in person again. So I've met her before, but it was just nice to see her again out here. Idaho's great. And there's a place here called Barbacoa in Boise, Idaho. You guys all know that I love chicken wings. So this place is incredible. They fry the wings, Brent, and then they bring you a hibachi grill.
Yeah.
That you can crisp them at the table.
Come on.
I'm like, dude, what is happening? How did this only happen in Boise? Why hasn't this happened everywhere?
That should be normal operating procedure for wings.
I
know what I mean?
I agree. It's so, and yes, Julie just said they also have tableside guac, which was also delicious. So,
well, first of all, the show does not happen without Carly, so I'm glad that you got to see her, and she doesn't get enough credit from us on a weekly basis, so shout out there. Thank you so much for all your hard work, Carly. Awesome. So wait a second, Jamil, how are you in Idaho having chicken wings with a hibachi grill and your business is just running? How's that possible?
Interesting. I was asked that question today in the audience. Somebody said to me, Jamil, when you wholesale, are you basically creating a job? And I was like, well, it just so happens that today we did upwards of 9 deals.
Yep.
Of which I'm going to make money on every single one of them. That's just my corporate stores, and I haven't been involved in a single one. I haven't been in my office. I haven't been to my office in over a month, Brent.
So what happens? Do you just get notifications on your phone? How do you know you have 9 deals sold today?
Because I got this really cool thing called Slack.
Yep.
And I just pay attention. I mean, it's a channel called Dispositions.
Yep.
And I look and I see, ooh, look at all these houses we've sold today. Wow, how great is that? That's it. I just, from a high level, get to watch and see what's happening. And that's the most beautiful thing about what we do, Brent, is because we wholesale real estate. Yes, this can be a hustle. Yes, this can take time. And yes, this is going to require you to be involved in it. But if you build a business, if you turn this into a business, you can create for yourself a phenomenal lifestyle. Let me say this too. I'm at Brent Daniels' office constantly, and he has a team. He has a team that does the work. He has a team that makes the phone calls. He has a team that's underwriting the deals. He has a team that's dispositioning the houses, right? Brent, of course, is the owner of that business, but it's a team that's helping him accomplish that. And that gives Brent so much time to educate people, to do podcasts, to be able to be in the world so that he can help you guys do what he's doing as well. So, I mean, you've built a phenomenal business. I've been able to build a pretty great business as well. And it's just incredible the freedom that it's given us, dude.
Well, it's funny, I was asked by my junior acquisition manager, Chad, who in their prime was better on appointments, Ryan, my current acquisition manager, my closer, or me. And it's not even close. I
Yeah,
mean, Ryan is
Brian's
way
way
more
better.
talented, and
Way better.
Jeremy is way more talented at dispo. He's way better at working with working with the cash buyers and working with the acquisitions team, and does a phenomenal job. And Jackie keeps us all organized. There's only 4 of us really that are in the main office, and we're pushing 2 million this year. And that might not seem like a huge business, but I'll tell you what, it's a very profitable business. And to be able to build, it's interesting. A business is just a vision that we have, and people want to be a part of it. And I think that's so exciting. You know what I mean? It's just a vision of one or a couple different people getting together and saying, hey, this is the impact that we want to have in the world. And this is how we want to live our lives professionally. And then you just get to design it yourself. I mean, it's the craziest thing ever, isn't it, Jamil?
It's beautiful, dude. It really is. And it's the biggest blessing I can say outside of my friendships with you and Pace. Wholesale real estate and being able to earn money in the way that we earn money is by far one of the most incredible blessings that we've ever had. And it's phenomenal, dude. It's magical. I'm in Idaho right now.
Yeah.
I've been speaking all day, and we made a tremendous amount of money today. And I got to talk to people. This audience was so great, dude. Like, there were such wonderful humans in that audience. So many people that were truly, you come to an event like this because you care. You come to an event like this because you're committed, right? You're committed to your craft. You want to learn, you want to network, you want to meet new people. You want to see who's who in the zoo. Who are the people doing self-storage? Who are the people doing good multifamily deals? Who are the people doing creative finance? How can I connect with those folks? And you get to sit in these rooms and sit at these tables. They have these setups over there. It's like 4 or 5 people to a table. Every person in that room sitting at your table is somebody that you get to do business with. Yep. They all paid money to be sitting in there. Not a single one of the people in there is a mooch.
I love it. Well, and that's why I love wholesaling. I mean, listen, you can go into a room and you could provide value and find deals for anybody depending on what their exit strategy is, whether they want to land to build self-storage, whether they want to own multifamily, whether they want to just flip properties, whether they want to BRRRR or do Airbnbs or whatever else. We get to go and find all those deals, Jamil. I mean, that's the best. I mean, you talk about sitting back and watching and seeing all the different strategies and not having to pay the stupid tax by trying it yourself until you really feel comfortable understanding, where some of the tripwires are and where some of the, rocks are that you can crash on. You know what I mean? You get to see that. And I think that is fundamentally why wholesaling is so powerful and why it should be the foundation of any real estate entrepreneur. I truly believe that.
I agree.
And it comes down to conversations and offers. Having conversations with property owners or people that represent property owners or people that have already spoke to the people that have the properties and making offers on those. And that's it. That's how you grew your business. That's how you started out, with your cell phone, just going bananas, reaching out to every agent, every wholesaler, every fix and flipper, and just getting in, just sinking into that transaction and being the connector in the area. And that's why you built an unbelievably profitable business that you can do 9 deals in a day and not have to worry about your marketing budget.
True, but even then, look, let's step outside, because I've recently been getting outside of my comfort zone and been testing direct to seller marketing, and I've been making these calls myself, right? I've been making these phone calls myself, and I've been putting it on display for people to watch, right? So that they can see. I'm not a direct to seller guy. I've always been an agent person. I've always been a relationship person. So this is completely outside of my wheelhouse. Yet there I am on the phone having normal conversations with people, demystifying the complexity of what those conversations need to look like, having fun. Having a good time. I'm laughing. The audience is laughing. The people I'm talking to are having a good time and laughing and enjoying themselves. And what we're showing people is this doesn't need to be that serious. This doesn't need to be difficult. You literally can just pick up the phone and be a normal person and say normal things, but have a servant's heart. Just think
Mm-hmm.
about the people on the other side of that and be helpful and watch your life, man. Watch your life explode. Again, you've got a small team of 4 people, bro. $2 million is
Yeah.
no joke.
Yeah.
$2 million is no joke. Right? That's a phenomenal business. You know how look, you not only $2 million, you get to live a phenomenal lifestyle, and every person who works with you gets to live a phenomenal lifestyle. It doesn't take a lot. It doesn't take a lot. I lived a great life on 10 grand a month, but I can live a magical life with 20.
But 40, 50,
Well,
60.
I mean, come on, man.
Now we start going. Now you start being able to save and buy some real assets, which is the whole goal. You know, it's interesting. I was going back, Jamil, and I was looking at. I've got a spreadsheet with all of my first initial deals that I ever did, and I had found it on my old computer, and I just transferred it to my office computer. And I was going through because my team's like, "Listen, you got to break down. You got to like tell the stories of some of these things that you went through, so people can relate." You yell and you say, "Make offers and have conversations and do all this until you're blue in the face," but you got to make it like practical. And I was looking at it, and it's funny because all of the deals are like in Central Phoenix, right? And it was all where I was driving for dollars and door knocking and finding all these. And I would just literally just find a house that looked rough, looked like it needed some renovations. And most of Central Phoenix was built between, the 20s to the 60s. A lot of these neighborhoods, that's where you saw a big explosion once they figured out air conditioning here in the valley. And I was looking at one that was real interesting. It was on 26th Place and Osborne, and it was this gal, Crystal, Jamil. And I remember calling her up, and it was just like serendipity. She had just gotten a letter in the mail that she was a month away from getting her property foreclosed for not paying property taxes, right? Her grandparents built the property in 1949. Her parents took over the property, and then she got the property. So she never bought this property, but she didn't make a lot of money. She had a ton of dogs. She just was like kind of a single gal that liked going out there and having fun and smoking cigarettes in this place and just living her life and not paying her tax bill. But she was about to lose her property in a month. Right. And I just, just working through that and having those conversations. She didn't want to put it on the market. She was embarrassed that she never upgraded the property. She didn't want her dogs, to bark at everybody. She was embarrassed that there was so much cigarette smell in the house. And so she just wanted a clean, private offer. And I'm telling you guys, this happens every second of every minute of every day is people want a private sale. They don't want everybody to come through their house. They don't want pictures of their property on the internet. They just want to get rid of the property, and they want to have the speed and convenience of that, and they're willing to give a great price because of that. And then I got that property for $100,000. I sold it to my buddy Mark Lund, who's a builder, for $110,000. He added 1,000 square feet to that, and then sold it to one of my best friends, Danny Greif, and he lived in there for years. It's just crazy. All because I had driven by this house, wrote down the address on a pad of paper and a pen, got the phone number from just looking it up online and calling him up and asking her if she would consider an offer on the property.
Crazy.
And that's it.
And I want to give you another, 6 degrees of separation from Brent Daniels, but here it is. Brent, you guys, I say this a lot when we're in events, and I don't say it enough, but none of you would even know who I am if it wasn't for Brent. Brent was the first guy to put me on. Well, he's the first guy to put me on a podcast. He was the first person who told me to get loud. He was the first person who said, you have to get out there and share your story with people because it's important and people need to hear it and it's necessary. And he didn't come at it from the point of view of, well, if you start sharing your story and if you start teaching people, then I may not teach the people, as many people, because Brent was like, brother, come over here. Let me help you. Let me put you on a platform. Let me show people who you are, which essentially catapulted my career. And, here we are. We got Matt Justice in the deal in the chat right now. Is just did 3 deals in Tucson. And I'll tell you, bro, that started from you putting me on your podcast. Now,
Well,
Matt,
people should go back to that YouTube video of me walking around in your office, and we were just breaking down deals in your office from 2018 to now, 5 years later. It's on my YouTube channel, and it's absolutely incredible. But you changed the industry, and you really did. You know, people have been going direct to seller for forever. You know what I mean? And people were going and buying deals off the MLS forever. But you were the one that really built the relationships in this business and really built this pipeline of opportunities for people to go to be able to sell their deals that are just getting started or just didn't want to focus on working with the cash buyers. They just wanted to go find great opportunities and get them sold and get paid. And you guys have done it, what, 6,000, 8,000, 10,000 times, whatever it is. That's bananas. In what, 7 years?
it's been nuts, right? What a thing.
Incredible. Absolutely
Anyways,
incredible.
I just want to say it again. You know, I absolutely love you, Brent.
Love you too, brother.
Pioneer, man, pioneer, and you changed so many lives, so many thousands of lives. And I feel grateful to just have the opportunity to be able to share this show with you. So love you, man.
Thank you.
Guys. Put
Love
your
you
questions
too.
in the chat. We're ready to
We're going to
answer.
start opening this thing up for questions. So make sure that you guys put it in here. Also, if you have celebrations, if you talk to a property owner for the first time, if you talk to a real estate agent for the first time, if you comped a property for the first time, we want to recognize you. We want to celebrate you. I want to ring this victory bell so that we can make sure that you understand you've got a lot of energy behind you. You got a lot of support, a lot of cheerleaders that want to help you be successful in this business. So you're in the right place. Make sure that you're squatting up in the comments section. Make sure you're putting your questions in there, and make sure that you're letting us know what actions you've taken over the last week since we've seen you last that we can celebrate and recognize you for. So absolutely incredible.
Guys, don't be cheap with your likes. You know, I got about 130 of you watching on my channel. I don't know how many are watching on Paces, but I'm sure it's a ton, and a bunch watching on Brent's. And you guys are cheap with your likes, man. Come on, hook us up, give us a like. And the reason for it is the more that you do, when you guys like this, then YouTube puts it in front of other people, and then those other people get to learn about this business, and just consider it a way of you stacking good karma.
I got a two-parter for you, Jamil.
Sure.
There you go.
Right. Scott W. said, Jamil, when you level with an agent and show them the enough reason where they can't be unreasonable, and you give them a cash offer, and the agent believes the seller isn't ready for a cash offer, how long until you tell the agent we should just present this to see what they say, or respectfully say, present my offer in general? Scott, great question. So first and foremost, right, the real estate agent is required to present your offer, but they not all the time will. So first, I just want to make sure that you're talking to the listing agent, right? Make sure that you're working with the listing agent and asking for their representation. It's important that you say it. It's important, Scott, that you say, I would like to offer on this house, and I would like for you, before you tell them what your number is, I'd like for you to represent me in writing an offer on this house. Would you do that? And if you get them to agree to representing you, and then you start talking about the number, well, now they represent you. Now they're representing you. They're representing the seller, and they have to present your number. Now, that's not saying that they're always going to do it. And Scott, your listing agent or the agent here probably knows the seller better than you know the seller, of course, because you don't have a relationship with them. They do. And so that right there, the reason they don't want to present it is twofold. A, they may have presented or lied to their seller and given their seller an expectation of where they were going to be able to sell this building, or they truly don't believe right now that the seller is ready. Either way, I think the time that you're asking for is when should the agent just present it to see what the seller is going to say? It's going to be when they're close to losing the listing. Okay. What happens at 180 days on a listing agreement? It cancels. It's over. The agent was unsuccessful, and it's done now. And so what you have to do then is just track that. See how long does this agent have this listing for, and then act accordingly. Man, we've got some people in the chat here.
We got to go, guys. Almost
Hillary
400
Huffman
people.
is watching Wholesale Hotline. Damn.
Who's in here?
Hillary Huffman.
All right, Hillary.
She's my homie out of Louisiana.
First of all, Ketsa Homes, come on. Here we go. Talk to a possible seller. Come on. Somebody somebody got Mojo today, so they're ready to take some action. Where did that go? That's going to be absolutely, here we go. Celebration is, come on, Jacqueline.
Well done.
That is a great tool for going out and having those conversations so that you can make more offers. I want to address this. Reading Five Guys, delicious burgers, by the way. Why do you think your dispo guy is better than you, Brent? He's just got ice water in his veins. He's just more of an analytical, and so he really prices it right so that he can get really solid buyers to commit. We don't go too crazy and we don't go too low to where it's, just a bidding fest and everybody gets too mad. Usually there's, a couple different parties want to get the deal. But he's got a really, really good sense of the numbers behind the deals. And so he's phenomenal at comping. He's phenomenal at making sure that we're pricing our properties right. And I would get steamrolled. I'll be honest with you. I'd sell it to 3 people every time, and I would make half as much. I really would. And they'd be like, hey, can I get a couple grand off this or a few grand off this? And be like, yeah, let's do it. And he's trying to get the most every time so that everybody gets bigger commissions. And I really respect that. So he's done a really great job. Yep. Here we go. What do we have? Javier. I locked up an agent today that is going to send me distressed properties. Come on.
Let's go.
Now, Jamil, give him some guidelines here on and maybe you already know Javier, but give him some guidelines just in case for everybody else on how to make sure that agents know what properties to send you.
So yeah, Javier, I have a document called the 12 agent traps. Okay, the 12 agent traps are incredible because even though you think the realtor knows what you're asking for, there's a really good chance they're going to get it wrong. In fact, there's a 1 in 12 chance they're going to get it wrong. There's an 11 in 12 chance they're going to get it wrong. There's only a 1 in 12 chance they're going to get it right, because 11 out of 12 times you fall into one of the agent traps. It happens. It happens. So first and foremost, when you're doing agent outreach, you want them to send you houses that haven't been listed yet, that are in original condition or needing work. And guess what they're going to do? They're going to set you up on a drip campaign, and they're going to send you houses that have been listed. So they didn't listen to the first part. I'm looking for anything that hasn't been listed yet, that's coming to market, that's in original condition or needing work. And so that's where you're going to have issues. Second, they're not going to hear the part about you looking for houses that need work. And they're going to start sending you listings of beautiful homes. They're going to start sending you beautiful properties that they're going to just want you to buy, that aren't going to be a part of your investment strategy. And then they're going to try to sell you on some garbage like, oh, this would make a great rental, or this would be a great Airbnb. And they're going to try to start inventing what your business model is. So I'm not saying this to discourage you. I'm saying this to say to you, congratulations for getting one agent to say they're going to send you houses, but I want you to get 50 agents, 100 agents, 300 agents, 5,000 agents to say that. Never rest on one person. That's where people get it wrong. They're like, whoo, all right, I'm done. I got an agent going to start sending me off-market houses, or going to start sending me distressed properties. I'm done for the day. I'm done for the day. But no, it's not, brother. You got to keep pushing. You got to keep going. You got to keep going. You got to keep going. They're never going to be able to satisfy your appetite when you're a wholesaler. Okay? Imagine if you're a wholesaler, you got to think of it this way, okay? Basically, you're Jamil, and there's a plate of chicken wings in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
There'll never be enough. Okay, there's never enough houses. There's never enough houses. So good job. If you guys are looking for the 12 agent traps, send me a DM. Nino in my IG will send you the document. I don't have it here. Typically, Bobby would be available in the chat, but Bobby's at the movies with his girlfriend right now, so I can't get it to you. But send me a DM, and I'm happy to send you the 12 agent traps on Instagram.
Yeah, and I talk about it with the Rhino Tribe, to find 30 people that'll send you one deal a year. Just find 30 people, and you might have to talk to 1,000 people to find the 30 that know, like, and trust you, that'll send you one opportunity that you can close and make income. But if you make an average 10,000 on a deal, that's 300,000 just from those 30 people every single year.
Exactly. And also, guys, don't think that you're exempt. When an agent says to you, I'm going to start sending you stuff, that doesn't mean anything.
Right.
It means that they're agreeable to working with you, but it also means that you need to follow up with that agent every week or 2 weeks. They're not going to remember to just send you things. You've got to reach out. You've got to follow up. You've got to follow up. You've got to continue doing that work. Never rest. Never stop. Never think that it's going to come to you. Always go after it.
Do you have people, Jamil, that are they're full-time wholesalers, but they have you sell everything?
All the time.
Why would they do that?
Because they focus. They're masters at what they do. They love having conversations with agents, or they love talking to distressed property owners. They don't want to do the dispo side. That's just not what they want to do. And just like us, look, we could play the role of, hey guys, we're not going to help you. We're not going to comp your deals. We're not going to do any of this. We're just going to go do the same thing that I'm training thousands of people to do. And we're just going to do it ourselves. And I could acquire every house, and I could dispo every house, and I could make all the money myself. But is that really how business is done? No. In real business, we collaborate with each other. In real business, we scale because we work with each other. And so there's lots of wholesalers, so many wholesalers that they don't care to do it all. I've got one of my students, Ryder Cotton, phenomenal guy. He works out of Tennessee. He even said to me, he's like, right now, I'm making less money this month than I made last month because I finally made the decision that I'm just going to outsource all my dispo. I don't like doing it.
Yep.
I don't like doing it. I like to do this part of my business. I like to do this part of my business. I'm only going to do this part. I'm going to outsource the rest of it so I can focus on AC. It's smart. Focus on what you're good at. Focus on what brings you joy in life. Focus on the work that makes you smile. Believe me, if you can be happy doing the job, if you can enjoy it, how pleasant are you going to be all day? How pleasant will you be with the people you work with? How good of a spouse will you be to your partner when you're done work for the day? How nice will you be as a parent to your children because you didn't get shit on all day long, or you didn't do something that made you feel like you were doing something you didn't enjoy?
Well, I think, and especially when we're starting out, you don't know who's going to actually close, which puts you in kind of a tricky position if you're direct to seller, because you are working with this seller. You have the ability to close. We talked about it last week about how Jamil has transactional funding for anybody. So everybody has 100% financing. Everybody is a cash buyer.
20 million guys, I'm backing every person in TTP, every person in Astro, every sub 2 student. Okay, these 3 communities, we got $20 million raised, and every one of you can run around the world being a cash buyer. Sorry to cut you off, Brent, but I just wanted to.
No, you're good. I want you to. Will you?
Their money.
Are you able to post with the site for that?
Yeah, it's flipcashtoday.com. Flipcashtoday.com.
Flipcashtoday.com, guys. That makes you a cash buyer. But beyond that, you go and you meet with this property owner. They know, like, and trust you. They want to do business with you. You find this opportunity and you go to sell this opportunity, and you sell to what you think is a unbelievable end buyer, an unbelievable cash buyer. And then all of a sudden they're being sneaky about depositing earnest money. Then all of a sudden they're not returning your texts anymore. Then all of a sudden they're kind of stiff-arming you, and they're not filling out the paperwork with the title company or the closing attorney. And then all of a sudden you're starting to get like, wait, am I going to get this closed, or is this going to just be a big learning lesson? Right? Right. And then you go, and then all of a sudden they don't close, they disappear, they don't cancel the deal. It screws everything up. You got to have a conversation with the property owner. You're feeling awkward about everything, and then you're like, you know what? This is ridiculous. I need to make sure that when I find a deal, I can do the best that I can to make sure that it gets closed. I'm going to just take it to Keegley because they're going to shoot me straight, and they're going to tell me they're going to sell it to real buyers. And that's and Jamil, I don't have anywhere near the type of business model that you do in regard to the massive amount of referrals, but I have 3 or 4 unbelievable wholesalers here in town that'll bring us the deals to sell just because they want to just run and gun. One of them made like $450,000 last year, $300,000 the year before, and just lives like this crazy life because he just, when he wants money, he goes out and he finds some deals, and then he has us sell it, and then he kind of goes and parties for a while, young guy, and then just keeps doing that. At some point, I'm sure he'll want more of the process, but maybe not. Maybe that's just that makes him happy. You know what I mean? Is just make sure, he knows that once he gets a deal locked up, it's going to get sold.
That's it.
That's it.
I mean, at the end of the day, dude, you just want to be able to earn money, have a good time, enjoy life. And I love watching my friends make money. I love it when I love doing a deal with you and I get to see your assignment fee on the HUD. And I'm like, this guy, Brent Daniels, rich mofo.
That's it. Michael Reyes, great Rhino. He's in Yuma, but has done his first couple deals. Brent, when do you decide to wholesale a home rather than wholesale it? I will only wholesale a home if it's in really, really decent condition. If it's really, unless it's like something that's like a real low priced property that I don't feel like I can just sit on for a long time, but I don't want to have a tremendous amount of money tied up for too long. And so the property has to be in really good shape. It has to be a real solid deal. And then I'll go in and clean it up and put it back on the market, but it's very rare. I'm trying to assign as much as possible. If not, I'll close on it and then just sell it to our database. As opposed to put it on the market, but very rarely am I putting something on the market. I feel like, and Jamil, maybe you have this same sense, but I feel like our cash buyer database is more powerful than the MLS.
Big time.
Yeah,
Big time.
which really sends like agents to like, what? Puts them in a frenzy. They're like, that's impossible. The greatest cash buyer database of all time is the MLS. Not necessarily.
Nope.
Not necessarily.
Nope,
you got extra costs there. You've got a lot of aggressive agents that are going to try to get their deal accepted. And
also, there's a lot of noise.
Yep.
It's because here's the thing, right? If a cash buyer is going there, they got to sift through all the retail stuff. They got to sift through all the junk. They got to sift through all the overpriced stuff. It takes hours. It could take weeks. Your cash buyers don't have that time.
Yep.
Right? They're working projects. They're out doing their business. They don't got the time to comb the MLS. They don't.
Yeah.
That's why wholesalers do well, because when we find and curate, the word curate, opportunity, what does the word curate mean? It means that we're selective. It means that I know my one buyer buys this type of house. I curate. I look at all my inventory and I see what would this specific buyer like to see. And then I walk that deal over to him. I text it to him. I call him. I email him. And I let him know, look, there's a deal coming your way. It's right in your wheelhouse. Pay attention. It's coming right now. That's how you sell houses. You don't sell houses by putting them on the internet and waiting for the phone to ring. It's not how it works.
Well, and the best buyers in our market, Jamil, they have been in this business for a while. They've been bombarded with different market cycles and different agents sending them 15 emails a day. You know what I mean? And then they don't want to go through it all. They don't want to see all these properties that are already on the market. They want to see something that's off market, nobody knows about, and is hand delivered. You're 100% right. The best ones, and then they're like, yeah, this is great. They don't want an agent bringing it to them. They want a wholesaler bringing it to them.
Yep.
I'm telling you, people don't understand this, but the best buyers have unbelievable relationships with wholesalers and very rarely buy off the MLS.
Pam White, we do see your comments. We see all the comments. We just don't have a ton of folks in there right now monitoring them. And Bobby would usually respond, but the website is flipcashtoday.com, flipcashtoday.com. And how it would work, Pam, is if you're in a wholesale transaction and you found a buyer already, but say you need to close on the deal, say the agent or the seller didn't want to have an assignability clause, or say you can't double escrow because of the title company or for whatever reason, you would use Flip Cash Today to do transactional funding. I'm a transactional lender. Okay, meaning that I will buy the house and then you sell to your buyer the next day or the same day or whatever that looks like. But you use me to bridge the gap. Okay, as a transactional funder, we will help you close the deal and then you resell the deal. Okay, that's the purpose of it. So I hope that explained it and made some sense.
Awesome. I just posted it there too. Scott, Jamil and Brent, I know you say don't get too caught up in the analysis, but if I wanted to master figuring out numbers on rehab, how to reach that next level knowledge from like Brent's Rehab Estimator, you can certainly get that. Guys, it's a nice guide to use at wholesalinginc.com. Wholesalinginc.com. There's a ton of downloads there. But go ahead, Jamil. When it comes to Rehab Estimator,
Yep.
I mean, it's just
right now, I've been paying pretty close attention to costs, right?
Yep.
And what we've been seeing is right now, you for a cosmetic remodel are probably seeing around the $40 a square foot price point, which really helps you do some quick back of the napkin math, right? So if you got a 1,500 square foot house and it's $40 a foot, let's just look at that. What does that equal? If you got a $40 a foot times 1,500, 60 grand.
Yep.
Okay, that's how much a cosmetic remodel would cost you. And if you want to do a full gut, that means you're doing the roof, you're doing some plumbing, you're doing some electrical, there's some drywall repair. It's a full gut. Okay, full gut's closer to $60 a foot. So you got a 1,500 square foot house at 60 a foot. That's 90,000. That makes sense. So that's what I've been doing. That's what I've been using as back of the napkin math these days. Now, of course, in places like Southern California, it's going to be a little bit more money. Okay. In Southern California, a cosmetic remodel is going to cost you $60 a foot. A full gut remodel is going to cost you $80 to $100 a foot. But that's SoCal. Everywhere else in the country, I think you can use the $40 and $60 a foot framework. And I'm sure, Brent, your rehab estimator is probably going to give people around the same numbers.
Yep.
Around the same numbers. And you don't got to spend a bunch of time doing that. You can give, again, back of the napkin math, and it'll give you exactly what you need.
Yeah. And you don't have to you don't have to go in and put all the line items and all of this. In my opinion, and I used to do that because that was something that, I don't know, I saw some trainer, do that so that you can really get the prices down when you're negotiating. And I always found that people understand that properties need work. People understand that it needs significant amount of investment. And so every time that I would like go line item, I would see their like heart sinking. You know what I mean?
And then you know what they think? They think you padded the numbers, and then they're going to hold on to one thing. They're going to see one thing in the budget that you're showing them, and they'll be like, no, my cousin Peter could paint this for way less. You should use him.
Yeah.
And I bet you everything that you're paying for here is more money than what it should cost.
That's it.
So don't do that. Don't go into a line by line item with a seller. They're gonna give you shit. Don't do that.
Yeah, and remember this, guys, we're deal finders, not deal creators. All right. You're not going to convince anybody that they're going to sign their deed over to you because of, because of words that you're going to say, or because they think that they just can't handle this kind of rehab type of thing. And just when you go into it, go in the confidence that you're not telling them what they should sell their house for. You're telling them what you can offer. There's a huge difference there. There's a huge difference in, I'm not comping your house so that you know what it's worth. I'm telling you what I'm prepared to offer you. That's a totally different approach to it. And if you have that approach, you're going to have, you're going to get a lot more deals. And two, you're not going to have to justify all of these things all the time. Right? If they want to get it comped, they should talk to an agent, and you should have somebody that you refer them to. If they want to put it on the market and they want to put some repairs into it, or they want to re-rent it out and they want to do all these things, great. It's our job to discover what options they're looking at. If they just want to sell it because they're going to lose it to a tax default and they're embarrassed about it and they want a private sale, boom, here's the offer that I can give you. I can give you $100,000. Then you sell it for 110. Boom, you made your assignment fee. So it happens every day. Deal finders, not deal creators. Just remember that, guys. All right.
Couple of things I saw in the chat, guys. So first and foremost, no, it's not a place. Flip Cash today is not a place for proof of funds. If you do want a proof of funds, you can email flipfundllc@gmail.com. Flipfundllc@gmail.com. I put $1 million in an account and I leave it there so that I can provide you guys a proof of funds. So by all means, use it. Flipfundllc@gmail.com. I'll put it in the chat. There it is. Thank you, Brent. So if you guys need a proof of funds, by all means, check out and we can help you out there.
There's a question about, can I wholesale before I set up my LLC? What do you think about that, Jamil?
Yeah, you can.
There you go.
Of course, you can wholesale in your personal name, but I would suggest that sooner than later, it's important to get an LLC to protect yourself in case you get sued or in case of whatever happens. It's smart to have an LLC. It's smart to be a real business. It's smart to protect yourself and to think about tax strategy and how you can optimize yourself as a real estate professional and pay less in tax.
Yeah.
But did you let that stop you from taking action? No. I want you to start. I want you to start now. And if that means you don't have your LLC set up and you got to do it in your personal name, Harry, do it. Do it. That's fine.
Yeah, and I think it's just a better look when it's on the purchase agreement to have an actual business. I think that property owners probably expect that, but maybe not. You certainly don't have to. But it's not either or. It's do both. Like, set up your LLC while you're starting to have conversations with people that have personal problems with their properties, right? Just start having those conversations and file get some help filing your LLC. You know what I mean? And then you're off and running. You don't have to worry about it. But I wouldn't be like, all right, step one, do the LLC first, and then I can go and have conversations. Anybody can. There was a comment on here. How do I get my 15-year-old and 17-year-old involved during the summer in this business? What do you think, Jamil?
I mean, look, Andy Wrong, right? He's one of my students, 15 years old. He started when he was 15 years old. Do you know what his monthly consistent take home is? 15. He starts at 15. He makes 50 grand a month, $50,000 a month. He's now 17. He makes way more money than his entire family combined.
Mm-hmm.
He makes more money in a month than his entire family combined. Think about that. And he's young. He's just a kid.
Let's give him some, huh?
Yeah, just a kid.
That's awesome.
Absolutely. You can, if your children have if they've got the desire to earn money, if they're watching mom or dad and saying, wow, I want to be involved. How can I do this? How can I make money? Then be so grateful that God gave you inquisitive children.
Yeah.
That you have kids in your life that are go-getters that want to get it done, and give them an opportunity. Put a phone in their hands. Brent, when we did our golden ticket event, we had a baby there. Remember that young guy?
Yeah.
Young man. That young man was on the phone talking to people.
Talking to agents.
The
Yeah.
first agent hung up on him, and then he called the agent back and said, I think we got cut off.
Uh-huh.
And she was like, okay. It's like, well, yeah, I'm working with my dad, and he's a young boy. He couldn't have been older than 8 years old. Had a great conversation. You don't got to overthink it.
Awesome. Misha, come here. Misha's here. Misha's 17. Misha's 17 years old. Let's see what he's doing. Come here. What are you doing right now?
Well, I just started wholesaling with my partner, Aiden. Yeah. And so only a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And we just sent out our first offer on a property. And so it's going well.
Good job, brother.
That's great.
So who are you talking to?
Agents.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's going well. We're visiting properties, actually.
Aren't you scared of talking to agents?
Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah.
And you do it anyway?
Yeah, of course. It's
there you go.
It's good.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Such an inspiration.
Great work.
Conversations and offers. That's what you do with your 15 and 17-year-old. That's it. And the sooner they can have adult conversations about property, the better they're going to be, the faster they're going to be. So It just comes down to that. So absolutely incredible. Here we go. Question. What are your thoughts around what makes you memorable to an agent when they don't know them and you call to connect? Memorable so that they don't forget you 5 minutes later. Thank you. From Andrew Nelson.
So, it's funny what I would use, and I still say this when you guys ever hear me on the phone with agents and I do a live. Oh yeah, Dan Quijano just reminded me there was I did a podcast last week with a 17-year-old as well who's doing a school assignment. He's doing a report on how he can build a real estate business by leveraging relationships with real estate agents. That's what his school report is on, Brent.
Yeah, I love it.
And Dan Quijano brings me into
I want a copy of that. I want a copy of that.
Bro, Dan texts me in the morning and says, would you make this kid's life and show up on this podcast? And I show up on the podcast. He starts crying. It was incredible. It was one of the most heartfelt, touching things in the world. I couldn't believe it. Anyways, beautiful. Thank you, Dan, for that. Put that question back up so I can answer it. Yep. So how do you make yourself memorable? So this is what I would say. What I would tell the agent when I got off the phone is, do me a favor. As soon as I get off the phone, can you save me in your phone as Jamil has all the money? I would just give them some dorky, corny, cheesy line there. And I could say, can you save me as Jamil, investor who doesn't have bad breath? Or if you guys want to reference my last IG post, Jamil suns his butthole. Whatever that is, just save me in your phone as something memorable, and that will get it'll elicit a laugh out of your real estate agent, and it'll actually make them save you in your phone. That's how you make yourself memorable.
I love it. And remember, your tone of voice is your body language on the phone. I can't tell you how many people are so damn boring. They're just so boring. It's all flat the whole time. Like, have some enthusiasm when you're speaking. Have some certainty. Have some likability. Like, use your tone of voice as a tool. 100%. If you bring a little bit of energy and respect and some love to that agent, they're going to remember you. Yep. They're going to remember you because everybody else is trying to, like, tiptoe around them or negotiate against them or try to, like, I don't know, just have weird professional conversations. You know what I mean? Like, just have a good tone of voice and have some fun, just like Jamil is talking about, and you're going to be memorable. And then have them save you in their phone and you're set. The other thing is, they're going to forget you. Yeah. It's reps.
You got to keep,
it's reps.
You keep touching base. Bro, if you, the average agent takes 8 to 13 touches, Brent.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's like, I can't, and I think it's kind of a silly thing for people to just reconfirm when they go, oh, I'm terrible with names. So if you're doing that, stop doing that. Never do that again, because you'll just keep doing it and it's rude. But, like, they're not going to remember your name. Even if you have them save it in, they're running around, they're driving, they've got 14 other things going on. They've got a title company calling them on the other line while you're talking to them, whatever else. It's the reps in it. You know what? Don't assume that they're going to always remember you until you've talked to them 10 or 12 times. You know what I mean? And then from there, if you're really good at communicating, if you're responding back to them quickly, they're going to understand that you're serious and they're going to want to do business with you. I've gotten so many deals that I should have not gotten, Jamil. I should have not been. I was a lower offer, or I took a longer time to close, or I had never done business with them before. What's that?
That one deal with that older lady who just wanted to see you make money.
Yeah.
She legitimately sold him a house for very little and said, I just want to see you do well.
Yeah.
Like,
cowgirl Fran.
Yeah. The world is not full of angry, cheap, greedy, want 1,000% of value people. There's all kinds of circumstances, all kinds of people. So many different types of people out there. Right.
We had this one, Nathan. Does a memorandum need to be signed by the seller, or do you even need to disclose to them you may file one? I almost had a deal fall apart because my contract that the seller didn't want it. I'm in Texas.
What are your thoughts on memorandums, Brent?
Yeah, I don't do. It's in our contract the right to be able to disclose to record them, and the only reason I really put it in there, one, I think it's just smart to have so that they know what they're agreeing to, so you're not just clouding people's title. It's a bad look for long-term business. Long-term reputation, really, and second, I like them knowing once they sign a purchase agreement with us, we're doing this deal. They're not backing out the next day. They're not slipping through and it's not like a LOI. It's a real purchase agreement that is binding, right? And we don't want either party to breach that. And so we have it in there. Very rarely do we ever record them, Jamil, just because it's just, if people truly don't want to sell it to us, then we won't do business with them. But usually it's because something comes up, something that was an obstacle is no longer an obstacle, or somewhere they were going to move into, they can't anymore because the relationship deteriorated or whatever. So we don't want to put people in a position where they're under our thumb. We want them to be working with us hand in hand. And so we just disclose that we're serious about it. When we commit to this deal, we want them committed to the deal. And so that's really the main point of talking about it. And we go over it on our offer presentation and explain what it is. But it's for people just going out there and locking up properties at any price just to beat everybody else out, and then record a memorandum and cloud the title of the property owner, and then that's your business strategy. You're going to have some problems. You're going to have some big problems.
Yeah, I mean, we've got people like that in Phoenix, Arizona. That's their business model, and those people are being investigated by the Attorney General.
Yeah.
Did you hear that one of their people just got shot the other day? I just heard that yesterday. You know who I'm talking about.
Yep.
But yeah, that individual had somebody who works for him, and I guess something had happened and the property foreclosed, and they couldn't remove the memorandum in time, and so the house actually got foreclosed on because of this person.
Mm-hmm.
And so the homeowner found out where this guy's office was and waited.
Yeah.
And what happened was this person had somebody else working for him, and that person was shot 4 times. 4 times. He survived, but that was the result of that kind of a business practice, as somebody got shot over it.
But that's the energy you put out, in my opinion. You know what I mean? That's you talk about the vibrations that you put out. We have to understand what is virtuous, what is good, right? What is going to actually, help the world out. You know what I mean? And so when you're doing that just to be greedy, or just to have kind of like a weird workaround cheat code so that you can get more deals, for whatever reason, bad things are going to happen. It's just going to happen.
Look, this person's, I'm not going to say a last name, but this person's first name is Sam, and every one of us in town call him Scam.
Yeah.
Every one of us in town call him Scam because of the way that he operates. So it's not surprising that some violence would find its way to that organization. But listen, at the end of the day, memorandums, we disclose that we could file a memorandum on our contract. Just like Brent, we very rarely ever record them. Yep. They're just there to show our sellers that we're serious. Bro, we got Andrew LeBaron in the chat. I haven't seen him in a while.
Wow, Andrew.
Nice to see you, Andrew.
My man.
What's up, bro?
Good to see you. Crystal asks, how do you buy sight unseen? My partner and I drove a few hours away to see some listings, and we were shocked at the condition of the houses. Pics were not a true representation. Sorry. Pics were so not a true representation. How do you do it sight unseen?
Well, I do it a lot, right?
Yeah,
so
me too.
So for me, when I'm buying sight unseen, of course, I am going to ask for the most recent photos. And if they send me pictures and I don't trust them, they don't feel like they're, super recent, I'll just adjust my number. I'll ask, I'll say, hey, can I get in before can I at least send somebody out there to take a quick look? Is there, and if I'm getting stonewalled, if I'm getting, nope, sorry, it's got to be sight unseen, not allowed, it can't get you in, I'm just going to adjust my number accordingly. I'm just going to make sure that I'm offering enough to accommodate if the condition isn't what it's being represented as. So Crystal, I just build that into my price. I just build that into my offer. If I can't get in, I'm going to assume it's bad. I'm going to
assume the worst.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm going to assume the worst. Deeds, liens, you can work with TTP, Astro, and Sub 2 students without being our student. We're happy to help you with transactional funding. We're happy to give you help you out with our proof of funds. Sorry, we're not trying to ignore you, brother. It's just a lot of comments here, and we're just trying to get through them all.
Marcellus Wallace, the best name. I love that. What are some of the most common lies told by sellers and how we can combat them? It's really interesting, Jamil. In 2004, September, it was hot. It's like 115 degrees. I remember going to my first brokerage meeting at Windermere Real Estate. And Chad, our broker, stood up there and he said, buyers are liars and sellers are worse. And I know Pace thinks he invented that, but it's been a saying for hundreds of years probably.
Wait, Pace didn't make that up?
No, I heard that. That was the first thing I heard in a broker meeting in 2004. And I said, wow. Well, what do you mean?
I thought Pace made that up all this time. I'm like, oh, that was a wonderful nursery rhyme he made.
I am certain that Pace has never, he's not a real estate agent. So he made it up in his, in his experience. He realized this. But that was the first thing that they said. And I was like, what are you talking about? And they go, that's why everything needs to be disclosed.
Right.
Everything that they know about the property needs to be disclosed. And so, Marcellus, I'll be honest with you, and I'll have to go back a couple years here when I was going on appointments. I don't really think that sellers lied to me. I just assumed that they didn't know about certain plumbing issues or electrical issues or roof issues or whatever else. I mean, nobody was like, hey, I'm going to sell you this property at this price. Ha ha ha. I'm so sneaky. They don't know about how terrible the foundation is. Like, you can see it. You can understand it. Like that would be one of the disclosures I think would be the only thing that they'd really lie to me about. But it didn't happen that often. And I think if you're looking for lies, you're going to find lies. But if you think that people are going to deal with you fairly, you're going to deal with you fairly. And you have an inspection period for that. Mm-hmm. So if for some reason you lock up a property that's a couple hours away and you don't see it, and you go to that property or show it to one of your partners or cash buyers, and they're like, dude, this doesn't have a floor. It's just like ground. It's just like the bare ground. It doesn't have a floor. Then you're going to have a different conversation with that property owner. So,
to whoever wrote in the chat that Flip Cash website doesn't work, check your spelling. I just put it in my phone just to make sure. flipcashtoday.com. It does work. And for the last time, if you need a proof of funds, flipfundllc@gmail.com. Scroll up in the chat. It's there. Flipfund.
Rogelio, look at this. Just closed on my biggest assignment, Brent. $70K in under 30 years from 30 days from contract to closing from a cold call here in California. Come on. Stand up for this one.
Good job, man.
I wonder what he made per hour.
Well, he said 30 days. Let's just do some back of the napkin here, okay? So he did 30 days. Let's just assume he did 8 hours a day, okay? Let's also assume that he worked weekends.
Yeah.
Let's just assume that he worked every day of the week. Let's assume he worked all 30 days. So he did 30 days at 8 hours a day, 240 hours. So he made 70,000 divided by 240. He made near $291 an hour. Rogelio, you make more money than a good lawyer. Well done.
Well, and that's, yeah. And he's probably got, if he's working 8 hours a day, having conversations all day, he's probably got 15 other deals lined up behind that.
He put no more than 3 hours into this deal altogether. So he did 3 hours worth of work. He made 70 grand. So he made 23,000 bucks an hour.
I mean, I used to tell, just imagine this. I'm going to just say this. Imagine when you're working tomorrow that Jamil and I are behind you. All right. And we're each giving you $500, crispy $100 bills every hour that you are making calls, every hour that you're reaching out, every hour that you're being proactive. We would have to that's $1,000 an hour, right? We would have to tear you off the phone. You would try to put in 100 hours every single week. You would be going absolutely bananas. But here's Rogelio here that is doing it. Proof is right here in front of you that you can make upwards to $1,000 an hour being proactive. So don't let it stop you. Don't let it stop. If Jamil and I came to your house and watched you in your living room, at your kitchen table, or in your bedroom, or in the laundry room, or wherever you're making calls, and was literally watching you, you would go bananas. You would just be calling like crazy.
Yep.
Right?
Of course you would. Of course.
We should do that. We should
down.
do that as a challenge.
I'm down. That
would be awesome. That would be absolutely awesome. Daniel Chiano, perfect here. If you stay in control, you keep the leverage. You can't really make people not lie to you, but you can make them feel like it's not in their best interest to do so. Absolutely. And listen, you have an inspection period. You have an inspection period to see what's going on with this property, to make sure that, it is at least somewhat what they say it is. And some people just don't know. That's why you got to assume that it needs $40 a square foot to repair.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
I mean, that's how you get over that. One, you just make sure it's a really solid offer. Deal finders, not deal creators. Awesome. Jamil, when do you get back?
On Wednesday. I'm on a panel tomorrow in the morning, and then I have my support call in the afternoon. It's Tuesday, so rather than missing it, I've decided to stay in Idaho an extra night, and I'll do my marathon coaching call that'll last 5 or 6 hours from the hotel room, and then I'll hop on a plane the next day. Hey, Chris, my boy from Keighley.
Curious what people are seeing closed deals to contact ratios. Going by appointments, is it 100 contacts to 10 appointments to 1 sale? Awesome, but double it, Chris. If you talk to 200 people that are in either have a distressed property or in a distressed situation, you will find a deal. 200 to 1, at least direct to seller. What do you think?
Do you think a good appointment setter could get out of 200 contacts? How many appointments do you think that would lead to?
Well, it's really interesting, Jamil. So there's two ways to think about this. There's one that I have some. I own a franchise, a Joe Homebuyer franchise, and in Utah they go on every appointment. They get on in front of as many people as possible and try to figure out what's going on. My strategy with Ryan is, when they're ready to sign that contract, he's going over there. When he's laid all the foundational work.
That's how I am. I don't like to get in the car and drive unless we're doing business. It
is a natural progression of doing really good pre-qualifying and really good lead follow-up. And if they're at that point where they're ready to make the decision, then we go on that appointment. So there's two. I would test it out and just see which one that you would prefer to do. Some people just like going on appointments, getting in front of people, and just building that relationship face to face, knee to knee. Some people never go on an appointment. Some people do it all virtually. I mean, you've got people doing this business from, Jamil, I'm sure you've got people all around the world, but we've got people in Africa, we've got people in Australia, we've got people in Europe, we've got people in India, we've got people all over the place that are doing this business here in the United States. They've never even stepped foot here.
100%.
Right?
South Africans, just like you said. I got Swayam. He's in India, bro. My one, he's not even 18 years old either. He's 17 years old. He's working his butt off right now, and I believe he's in Mumbai, making it happen.
Our man Joel, when to delegate and focus on our skills. I love this. Go ahead, Jamil.
So, delegation is an interesting concept, right? Because you have to delegate a lot. You really have to delegate a lot if you're planning on scaling. Okay, so Joel, I think it comes down to this. What level are you in your business? Where are you in developing your business? I think in the early days, it's all about sharpening your skills. I think it's all about understanding and learning, how do you master the conversation? How do you really do this well? But when you start making money and you start building a team, at that point you have to start delegating. Otherwise, you can't scale. So you got to decide for yourself, what do you want? Do you want to run a business where you're just look? You could very easily be have a $50,000 or $60,000 a month business by making the calls yourself, selling your deals yourself, and doing it that way. You could also have a business where you don't make nearly that much, but you've scaled a team. I'm telling you, it's not always the right thing to have a big team. It's not always the right thing to have a huge business. It's not always the right thing to delegate so much to so many people that you're out of your business. It's not always the right thing. You've got to decide yourself, what do you want? What are you trying to accomplish?
Yeah, I think that if you start with that seed, and we talked about it early on, that a business is just one person's vision or a couple people, partners' vision of what they want to accomplish, and have a goal and have a mission to be able to do that. And if you're have this vision and this mission, but you're not willing to do the work, then in my opinion, you're going to get C or D or F talent, because they're just going to want the paycheck. They're just going to want the hourly pay, the VA type thing, or somebody that's interested in being a real estate investor, and they're going to get whatever information you have and then bounce. You just have lower quality talent attracted to you if you're not willing to put in the work yourself. You're like, oh, I just think about things. I don't do things. Well, guess what? People that just think about things and don't do things can't lead.
Right.
And that's really what delegation is. You're delegating somebody to do a better job at accomplishing the mission that you have and the vision that you have for your business. That's all it is. So people are like, oh, I want to make a ton of money. I'm going to go hire these people to do all the things that I don't want to do. That's a terrible mission. Why would they care if you make all the money? Why would they care if you get to pay off your debts? Why would they care if you get to buy all the fancy stuff? You know what I mean? Now you have a mission and a vision, and you're willing to put in and build your skills and help them develop as people and challenge them as people and be in a work environment where you're constantly sharpening and you're constantly like being excited and have energy because you're trying to accomplish this goal that you have that's not just making that money. That's when you become a leader. That's when you really start building something special, and that's when people start sticking with you. But people don't do that just because you want to be rich. Do you agree?
100%, dude.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, it's you got to look at leadership. I take a lot of lessons from Pace, right?
Yeah.
I love being around him in the world, and I love seeing how he builds the sub-2 community, and when you see how the people who are a part of the community will lay down in traffic. They literally they love Pace, right? They love you. They love me because we're a part of his world, right? And so, if you think about that, why? It's because of the kind of leader he is. It's because of the kind of person. It's just like you.
Could you imagine if he never went on an appointment, though, and he never took a seller call, and he never did a deal, and he just wanted to
there's no way the people.
You got to earn it.
Yeah, no. Who would follow him? Who would care? Who would give a crap? Right? They wouldn't. They wouldn't. But you see, look at the people that you see in leadership positions and ask yourself, what qualities do they have? What makes people want to follow them? What makes people want to be in their world? That are the qualities that'll help you build a business that you get to delegate. Because if I start telling people what to do and I haven't earned their trust, if I haven't earned their respect, they're gonna pretend to do what they think I want them to do while I'm paying them, and then the moment I stop paying them, it's like, yeah, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Excuse my language, but that's what happens.
There's a book and I can grab. I think it's called Made in America or something. It's a random book. It's not a real popular book, but it was really interesting and really impactful to me when I read it. And it was this guy was telling his story, and there was a super wealthy older guy that he wanted to be like. And he was a young, hustler, just doing his thing, sales, doing whatever he could, but just couldn't get. He could keep his head above water, but nothing more than that. And his mentor would meet him down by the pier and just have a conversation with him. And he said, "Listen, for the next 5 years, I want you to find one business owner, and I want you to work for them, but they have to be an immigrant. They have to be an immigrant entrepreneur that came here with nothing, and they'll teach you everything you need to know about business." Right? They need to be successful, but just throw yourself at it. He was like, well educated. But he started at the bottom and just learned so much from him because they started with absolutely nothing, not even speaking the language, and became wildly successful entrepreneurs because they knew how to really provide the value and to do the work. And I think that that's really powerful. I really do. And so I'll grab that book before the show's over. Sabrina, what positions, acquisitions, dispo do you have on your team? Jamil?
I've got a few different types of positions. Yep. I've got acquisitions people. Obviously, they're the individuals that are on the phones, talking to real estate agents, talking to wholesalers, bringing in opportunities. I've got dispositions people. Their job is to talk to buyers and connect the dots and help us sell our contracts. We've got intake systems, and those are the people that help us build our buyers lists. So if you ever come and visit Keighley, you'll see the largest position, the largest department that we have there is our intake systems. And those are the people that build our lists. That's why Keighley is so talented at selling deals, is because we invest so much human resources in creating our buyers lists. And then we also have our transaction coordinators. We have oh, wow, that's a really cool cover. We've got our transaction coordinators, and these are people whose job is to make sure that our contracts close, right? So they're the people that are talking to the lenders, ordering payoffs, talking to the title company, making sure our buyers have their hard money loans in place before closing date, making sure there's no hiccups that are happening, like really moving the deal along, making sure there's no liens that haven't been satisfied, like all of the questions that are going to need to be asked to the title company, to the buyer, making sure that the buyers have scheduled their appointments to sign. That's a thing. You don't realize how many buyers aren't available on closing day to sign. You won't believe how many buyers don't talk to their hard money lender until the day of close because they forget. That's what happens. So we've got our transaction coordinators in there. We have our administrative people in there. I've got an HR department in there. I've got a chaplain in my office. We pay a chaplain. If you are in our office and something's going on and you need to talk to somebody about a spiritual situation you're dealing with, we have a chaplain there. So there's a lot of positions that we have on our team. But again, I have a pretty big team, right? Let's talk about your team because it's a different situation. Yeah. Brent, what do you have?
Yeah, so I got Jackie Thornburg. She's the lead manager. She's my operator. If you want to, put a big umbrella on it, make sure that everything is organized, is in the CRM. Make sure that all the marketing goes out. Everybody's organized from our phone prospectors. We have 2 phone prospectors, Carmen and Fran, and then we have a texter, Tao. They're all through a company called Call Motivated Sellers. And they do a phenomenal job. It's not cheap. I think the top is like $25 an hour, and I think for the texter it's $15 an hour, but well worth it. Fran made me $800,000 gross last year. 1 phone prospector, absolutely incredible. And then we've got Jeremy.
That's all your cold callers come from that company?
I have 2 cold callers, 1 texter. Yep. And so I'm all about quality. I find that now I can go out, Jamil, and I can hire probably 10 people for what I'm paying them, maybe more, maybe 15 people for what I'm hiring the 2 for. But in my experience, because I've done this, too many leads came in, too many unqualified leads came in, which means it really clogged up the system and like blocked all the best leads. right? And so it really screwed up our system for follow-up, and it burnt out all my acquisition managers, and it just turned into kind of a nightmare. And so and if you have 10 or 15 callers, you need to have a tremendous amount of lists to pull and skip tracing you have to buy. And people typically get like really cheap data, and then it just turns into really bad leads, and it's a mess. You got to get dialers for them all. It's just it just did not work for my business. It works for some people, doesn't work for mine. The texting, I just want to be real efficient with that. They've put a lot of guidelines on that. TCPA. I use launch control for my texting just because they're TCPA compliant, and they make sure if people don't want you to text them, you can't just text them. All right. And then I've got Jeremy, who's my disposition manager, Jeremy Thornburg. I've got Chad, who is my junior acquisition manager. And then I've got Ryan Thornton, Chad Coulter and Ryan Thornton. And Ryan is my closer. And so my theory is I always want somebody in office on the phones, and I want somebody out in the streets locking up deals. And so it's real tough if you have your acquisition managers doing both, because they get into certain rhythms in business. And if they're running around on appointments instead of making their follow-up calls, all of a sudden you've got a clog in your system and you can't be as efficient. And that's when you see a lot of the roller coaster in our business. So those are the four, really. Lead manager, disposition manager, the junior acquisition manager, and then acquisition manager.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome.
And it's cool. And Chad goes on 2 hours every single day live on our Zoom call in our Rhino Tribe mentorship group, just making those calls live so people can see them, similar to what you've got going on as well. But it's exciting. It's really, really cool to have a nice, efficient business for sure.
I think the chat's punking me now, because it's like every couple minutes someone's saying, "Hey, I missed that proof of funds email again. Can you give it to me one more time?" I don't know if these guys are making me laugh, or if they're just being funny, or if they keep missing it.
I don't know. What is this? How do they get proof of funds, Jamil?
Flipfundllc@gmail.com. Flipfundllc@gmail.com. My gosh, you guys, it's so funny. I'll put it in the chat one more time. Whew.
Oh, for some reason they can't scroll back up, Jamil.
Okay.
Is the deal. I got it. Okay. The cold calling again is callmotivatedsellers.com. Here's that book I was talking about, Self-Made in America. Really good, but callmotivatedsellers.com. They're fantastic. Let them know TTP sent you, TTP, or you'll kind of go onto a really long waiting list. So that's awesome. So you're back. So wait, you're on a panel tomorrow?
I'm on a panel tomorrow.
What is the circle? What is that? Tell me what they got going on out there.
Yeah, so you know who Brittany Arneson is. We've had her on Wholesale.
Yeah, I know Brittany.
Before.
Yep.
And her and AJ Osborne put on this event out in Boise, Idaho. It's a commercial real estate investing, it's mainly focused on commercial real estate investing, because
got it.
AJ and Brittany, they both work very heavily in the space of self-storage. And so they both operate, well, actually AJ and Brittany together have a fund where they raise capital for their self-storage projects, and they do a great job. Brittany also raises capital for multifamily investing and buildings that she's buying. And so they've been, it's really, if you're interested in commercial real estate, it's one of the best events that you can go to learn about commercial and how to be involved in it. And then they had me come along because, I've wholesaled commercial deals before. In fact, I've wholesaled commercial land. I've wholesaled a bank. I wholesale multifamily. And you can wholesale the same way as you would wholesale single family residential. You can wholesale apartment buildings, and so, or commercial deals. And so we chatted and had an opportunity to talk about that today. It was a great event, man. I mean, Brittany and AJ do a really, really good job. And it really was just such a nice, intimate group of people that were all working together. So, and I like I said, dude, I like Boise, Idaho. It's the only place that you can get chicken wings that they send you a hibachi grill to your table so that you can crisp the wings yourself. I mean, come on, man. It's so good.
Is the sauce already on it, or do you put the sauce on afterwards?
It's sauced, really sauced well, and because it's already been fried and sauced, and then you grill it yourself. I'm going back for dinner again
When, tonight?
right now. When we're done with the hotline, I'm going back.
Yes, I love it. Make sure you put it on your Instagram so we can see what you're talking about if you haven't already. Zenith asks, what motivated you both to start?
Well, Zenith, for myself, when I got started, I was really, I got into real estate by accident. I was looking for another way. I was looking for a way to make money that was going to get me out of my life, get me out of the situation that I was in at the time. I grew up in I grew up in a really interesting part of Canada. No, most people wouldn't think that Canada deals with violence or with neighborhood problems, but I definitely wasn't in the best area growing up. And my mom and dad, I watched them trade their life for very little money. My mom and dad worked so hard. They worked so hard, and really, for what they got in return, it was very little. And that's what motivated me. I knew that I wanted more out of my life. I knew that as a man, I wanted to provide more to my family. I wanted to be able to earn enough money that I could be home with my kids and be able to see my kids. My poor dad, he didn't get to see me grow up. My dad worked 6 days a week, and on the 7th day, he slept. He didn't have a lot of time for me growing up. He didn't, and that sucked. So I was motivated to be able to have a better situation, a better life for my kids, and I've been able to accomplish that, and I did that all through wholesale real estate. What motivated you, Brent?
If I'm interested in something, I'm very coachable. If I'm not interested in it, I hate authority. I really do. I have a real problem with people telling me what to do if I'm not interested in it. And I don't know if that's just from being a little bratty kid or where that came from, but I've always had that kind of motor inside that was like, you know what, I'll just find my own way to do things, right? Or I'll find I'll figure this thing out, right? It might be the hard way, but I'm going to figure this thing out. And so the idea of somebody controlling the time that I have on this planet is gross to me. You know what I mean? It's just absolutely gross to me. And I would revolt against it. And it's like, fortunately, I was born in this country, and fortunately, I have the ability for a free market that says if you go out there and provide value, you get earned income on the other side. And with that earned income, if you're being smart about it and savvy about it, you put it into things that aren't used up by yourself, right? You're not the user of it. You're providing it to be somebody else can use it, and that's called an asset, right? And so the ability to be able to control what I do on a daily basis and the amount of value I can provide on a daily basis was fundamentally in me. It's innate. And so I just read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, with a mushy brain, and it took me down the path, and I was like, this is what I want. I'm a senior year. I'm going to my senior year of college, and I don't want to get some weird corporate job that my finance and economic degree is going to give me. And that's all the grooming that they really do in college. At the end, I think college is important. Just to kind of segue just a second, I think it's important to challenge yourself with certain things. And I think that's the importance of college, but it is a job factory. That's all it is. And I didn't want anything to do with that. So that's what got me motivated in the beginning. And I had to lose everything and hit rock bottom and realize that that's a strong foundation. And luckily I was able to find wholesaling as opposed to flipping, as opposed to rentals, as opposed to being a real estate agent, because I get the best of both worlds. I don't have to work for somebody as a real estate agent, and I get to go out and find opportunities and match them up with my friends and sell these properties and make a bunch of money. That's it. Yeah.
Love it.
A long answer to a very simple question, but I think, there
was a question in there. someone asked about the wholesaling laws in Oklahoma. So to my
Yes,
knowledge,
I saw that. Yep.
in Oklahoma, you need to have a real estate license in order for you to do wholesale. So you can only wholesale if you have a real estate license, or if you just use transactional funding, you don't have to worry about it at all. I don't understand why people won't just use transactional funding and just stop worrying about the assignability, stop worrying about the legalities. Connor, it'll cost you 1% of the acquisition price. Okay, so think about it. What's the average? Can you look up, Brent? What's the average cost of a house in Oklahoma?
Yeah.
Let's see what that is.
Median sale price?
Yeah, the median sale price for properties in Oklahoma. Oklahoma is an underrated market. I absolutely agree. Well, that Connor is a handsome guy.
244.
Okay, so Connor, if 244 is the average price, okay, that means it's going to cost you 1% of that. So you'll spend $2,400. 1% of 240,000 you'll pay in transactional funding. But you can make way more money. You can make tens of thousands of dollars on your fees there. So because there's also there's so little competition in Oklahoma because of the legislation. So swim in the blue ocean. Somebody else asked this about they were in Chicago, Illinois, and they said, when should you switch your marketing? Listen, if you're in Chicago, go direct to seller. If you're in Chicago,
yep,
go to town. There's so few people working in the wholesale world in Chicago because of the one silly law that you can't do more than one assignment. Just use transactional funding, guys.
Mm-hmm. It's wide open in Illinois.
Wide open in
It's
Illinois.
wide open in Oklahoma.
Yes, it's a blue ocean out
wide
there.
Open. Wide open. Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. It's with transactional funding and the price points not being crazy, right, Jamil? I mean, you're talking about it's not like you're talking about, a 1 point on $1 million is way more than 244. Let's just say that.
Yes.
1%. Swayam, great question here. Any tips on being a better communicator on the phone and sounding more confident? Stand up. Stand up when you're on the phone. Smile when you're on the phone. When people are talking and you're asking them questions, actively listen to them. Sure. Great. Really? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That makes sense. Sure. Great. All of those things really help so they don't feel like they're getting interrogated. When people always confirm and approve whatever they're saying, it doesn't matter how crazy it is. Just be like, oh, that's great. Just don't add friction to it. Don't tell people that they're wrong. All right. Don't disagree with people. Just have a good, clean conversation where they are just doing awesome. You want to make them feel that place where they're like in the zone. They're like, yeah, this person's really listening to me, because most people don't listen to anybody ever. You're just kind of surface, right? And then make sure that when they ask you a question, answer the question and then ask a question. Don't just answer the question with a question. It gets really annoying. Yeah. And then just understand that whenever you're having a conversation with the property owner, it's all around 4 things: the condition of their property, their timeline to sell it, their motivation, and their price. And so if you have those, you're going to be real powerful. Jamil?
One more thing that I'd add, and Swayam is actually our 17-year-old astro flipping community member that's calling out of India. So
nice.
Swayam, congrats on making it to Wholesale Hotline and getting a question asked here. But Swayam, what I would also say is role play. We have so many opportunities for you to role play with people in the community. Practice. Right? Yeah. Practice your tone, practice your speed, practice your intonation, practice all of it. And then let somebody tell you where you sounded off. Let somebody tell you where you sounded like you didn't have enough confidence, right? The other part is when you have the money to do business. This is something that's true. And Dan Quijano runs the nightly dial for PACE in the sub 2 community. Those role play sessions that they do, and they're priceless.
Mm-hmm.
They're priceless. You do role playing with the TTPs, priceless.
Mm-hmm.
All of that is so important. It's so important for you to have practice. I'm telling you, you practice, you role play, you'll get good at it. and you'll find out where you're bad. And people will be honest with you. They'll tell you, you say too much. They'll tell you when you're talking about price, you start to get weird. You start to stutter, right? When you're not confident about the way that you're delivering the information. So sit up. Like Brent said, sit up.
Yep.
Stand up. Be confident. Yep. Talk like somebody who has $20 million in the bank, because you do.
Yep. Do you do group showings for Dispo?
Yes.
How do you do them?
We do. Ralph, great question. We will do a group. We will do a group showing for Dispo when we have limited access. All right. And that means that we can only get in 1 or 2 times, or, the seller has to travel a distance to come and let us in. And it's just, if there's an issue with access, we'll do a group showing. But it's very important that you handle a group showing appropriately, because they can turn into a complete gong show if you don't. Yeah. Right. So this is what I do in a group showing. I always show up to the property 20 minutes early. Bro, I'm telling you, that's the number one cheat code. Show up 20 minutes early, because your buyers, you don't know this, but your buyers are going to show up 10 minutes early, hoping that no one will be there. And they're going to go knock on the door and ring on the doorbell. And they're going to go see if they can talk directly to the seller. I promise you.
Yep.
That one of those knuckleheads is going to do that. So you show up 20 to 30 minutes early and make sure you beat everybody there. Second, tell every buyer the rules of the game before you get into the house. Okay, so you bring all of your buyers and you have them huddle up around you. Okay, you make sure that you know who's going to show up, what car they're going to drive, and what they look like before you get to the house. And then everybody that you have them talk to you outside of the property, not in front of the seller, not in front of the realtor. And you say, this is the way the showing is going to go down. We're going to go into the property. We're going to look around, and we're going to come right out of the property. While we're inside, don't touch anything. Don't ask anybody any questions. If you have any questions, wait until we come outside, and then you direct those questions at me. Do we understand the rules? If you break or violate any of these rules, you and I can't do business. Is that understood? All right, let's go in together. That's how you do it. You take
and
control.
Bring the seller a treat.
You run it like a boss, and they will fall in. They will fall in line.
What would you bring? Would you bring coffee, donuts? What would you bring?
So
you bring him a treat.
Yes, if I have a seller who is a little bit testy, what I'll also do is I bring cinnamon rolls.
There you go.
Cinnamon rolls to my seller, and I keep my seller occupied with sticky fingers. And
everybody loves cinnamon rolls.
Cinnamon rolls are incredible. They're incredible.
Awesome. That's it. That's the show. Yeah. I mean, you nailed it, Jamil. I mean, I would say 85% of the properties we sell are sight unseen, because our buyers know what they're doing and understand the numbers, and they trust us, and we do a really good job with pictures and video. But beyond that, if we do have restricted access, like we haven't even been able to get in ourselves, because of tenants, or because they don't want us to see the property yet, but we've got it under contract, then yeah, we'll do some group showings. And exactly, you got to run the show. That's it. Jamil, you got anything live on YouTube the rest of the week?
I had a few people asking, and I'm just going to ask you guys real quick. We haven't had Straight Outta Compton in a little while, because I thought maybe you guys don't like it. So if you guys want to see Straight Outta Compton come back, do me a favor and put a W in the chat. I just want to see it. If you guys want to see Straight Outta Compton come back, we will bring it back in August when I'm back from vacation. But if you want to see Straight Outta Compton come back, put a W in the chat. And if we get enough W's, then I will bring Straight Outta Compton back. Beyond that, I'd love for you guys to support the Bigger Pockets book that is going to be published here in July. If you guys would do me a solid and go to biggerpockets.com/wholesale book, I'm going to put it in the chat. Before you log off today, go check it out. It's www.biggerpockets.com/wholesale book. Why is it important for the community to support this book? I don't care about, I'm not making money on this book, guys. Why it's important for us to support this book? Well, Bigger Pockets was not interested in supporting wholesale for the longest time. And it wasn't until, Pace and I and Brent became part of that world that Bigger Pockets finally embraced wholesale. And if they can see the community is interested in this book, they're going to give you more content. They're going to let more of you guys onto the Bigger Pockets platform to share on the podcast. So support it. Support Pace's book. Support my book. Biggerpockets.com/wholesale book. I'd really appreciate it if you guys helped make that book a hit. What about you, Brent? What do you got going on?
Yeah, guys, you got to get that book. I mean, it's going to be absolutely incredible. I got a live show, 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time on Wednesday on the Brent Daniels YouTube channel. We're going to be answering questions for an hour, doing a little bit of training in the beginning and celebrating success. So, if you have any questions from, today till Wednesday morning, jump on. We'll get those questions answered. We love you guys. Thank you for participating and being part of this community. And we love you guys. We'll see you next week.
Love you back. Bye from Idaho.
Or just say squat up.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
1, 2, 3.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
What are you doing? I didn't say nothing.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Cool. I think we should use the one where Jamil doesn't say anything.